your relationship feels more like roommates than romance, but you want trust, fun, respect, and frequent badass sex, then this is for you. But let me make something clear. If you're a person who is committed to constantly blaming everyone else for how your relationships have panned out up to this point, this video, you're not going to vibe with it. If you are someone who is okay with staying in relationships that feel like they suck the life out of your soul, drain you, they're constantly unhappy, disappointed, disconnected, unfulfilled, just because y'all been together for a long time, or y'all might have kids together, this is not for you. But it is for those of you who are willing to be completely 100% responsible for the part that you have played in the co-creation of how your relationships have shown up. And for those of you who want to create deeply connected, authentically fulfilling relationships that you can show your kids, if you have any, the example of what healthy relationships look like. So what I'm going to show you today is the exact system that I have used to transform my marriage with my wife, what I now call the Conscious Relationship Blueprint, so you can know exactly what it takes to create a deeply connected, authentically fun relationship for yourself. So how did I get here? Well, in 2014, me and my wife got back together. We had been broken up for 5 years. Our son was 5 years old at the time. I'd been living in Houston for 4 years. She lived 3 hours away with our boy. And I got to see him every other weekend. But we got back together. Family's back together. It's exciting. We quickly conceived our daughter. We got married in February 2015. Our daughter was born in May 2015. And at this time, I had already been building my first fitness coaching company for about 2 years, and I'm crushing it. I've got 75 clients of my own. There's 12 other coaches on my team. In our private Facebook community, we've got 450 plus people. I mean, things were popping. And one day I'm sitting at the desk doing work, and I remember thinking to myself, I feel like I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And I'm grateful. I'm making way more money than I had ever made in my life. And I started to think, well, how can I create the kind of lifestyle that I really want without feeling this way? So I had heard about real estate syndication and crowdfunding, and I decided to invest a whole bunch of money into the front end of building a real estate fund. And the first step was hiring this mentor. And my mentor said, hey, Laz, one of the things you need to do is attach yourself to a real estate company, get some more real estate experience than the experience that you have, so that when you open the fund, this will look very good to investors when you open to start taking money. So I'm like, word, let's go. I talked to my best friend, lucky me, my best friend who I was living with at the time, owned a real estate company. Him and his brother and another friend of ours are really crushing it. I talked to him. They want to expand in Dallas. Talked to wifey. Hey, when our lease is up, we're moving to Dallas. So that happened in October 2015. Me and my family are now living in a townhome across the drive from my best friend who's living in another townhome. And it's on. So we start working. I'm still crushing it with fitness. I'm starting to do these acquisitions because I'm now the Dallas acquisitions manager of my best friend's real estate company. I'm doing off-market single-family home, single-family lot, and multi-family lot acquisitions so we can flip them to an end investor. And it took us about 7 months to get our first deal. We didn't have our systems all together. You know, we were biting our teeth, basically cutting our teeth. So cool, whatever. June 2016 rolls around. I didn't hit the goal that me and my wife had agreed to for income for my wife to not go back to work. She did. She didn't have a problem with it, but my manhood had a problem with it. And when she left, and my daughter also went to daycare that day with her, my manhood had a problem with that too. And I sat on the stairs and I cried for about 30 minutes when they left. Boo-hoo, baby crying, rolled over. It sucked. And there was this story in my mind. You failed your family. You failed your wife. You failed your kids. You suck. You're a loser. You're not good enough. And I cried for 30 minutes. Then I sucked it up and I got back to work. Next thing I created was a partnership with someone else I knew who had been successful in creating supplement companies. So we decided we're going to use my fitness brand and launch a pre-workout supplement. Started research and development for that. So I've added that on to doing the acquisitions, to building the real estate fund. I'm already still expanding the fitness coaching company, putting new systems in place for that, going through a process of really turning it into a business. And now I'm having to fire people who weren't performing, and I had a lot of guilt and shame around that. I added in taking a bunch of Adderall because I had to focus, and I'm burning the candle at both ends, working my tail off. Well, things got better. I started getting more deals under contract. I started closing more deals. The research and development and the progression of the pre-workout supplements going really well. Everything's going good. But internally, there was this kind of war going on. I was in competition prep again, and I saw that how busy I was getting with business, and I'm 4 weeks out from a competition. So I quit the competition prep. And in the fall, I start closing more real estate deals. At one point I had like 13 to 15 real estate deals under contract, closed a few, a couple unwound. December comes around, and we launched the pre-workout supplement. First round of sales goes crazy. This is awesome. And now I've got like 10 deals in contract, under contract, that are in title, set to close in the middle of January. This is $120,000, $130,000 in commission for me. This is life-changing money, fam. Like, this is the kind of money that I was going to get in 1 month that I'd been making in a year. Okay. So January rolls around. I told the other coaches that, hey, I'm not taking clients anymore. I told my clients, if you send me referrals, these other coaches are going to handle them. I'm being the face of the fitness company, and we're going to blow up this pre-workout supplement. That's how it's going to go. Mid-January rolls around, and all of those deals that were in title, set to close, every last one of them fell apart. All of them. And when those deals fell apart, I fell apart. The story that I started telling myself when I was sitting on the stairs when my wife went back to work and my daughter went to daycare that day caught up to me. All of that burning the candle at both ends, all that smoking and taking Adderall caught up to me. The anxiety that I was avoiding caught up to me. And I didn't know what was going on. My energy went through the floor. My creativity went through the floor. I didn't know what was wrong with me. For 6 months, I felt like this. I felt like, why is it that I have all these things that I've started and that I have these badass ideas that had so much momentum, and now I feel like I can't do them? So I realized 6 months later, I was depressed. And during this time, my relationship with myself completely started to suck. My relationship with my wife started to take a lot of hits. Like, disagreement after disagreement. I tried to get on the same page with her in certain aspects, and it either felt like I was talking to a wall, or conversation would just turn into a fight or an argument. Our sex life was great, and then it went to super sporadic. I'm talking maybe once a month. It felt like once a month, or even when it wasn't, it definitely felt like it was once in a blue moon. And this was confusing. I didn't understand it. I felt like maybe I married the wrong woman. I felt like maybe I shouldn't have got married at all, because if I didn't have a family, then I'd be crushing my not just my fitness goals, but I'd be crushing my business goals, and I'd be a millionaire already. And so all of these stories, all of this created a serious strain. I was reading books, listening to YouTube videos, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, listening to audio books, having conversations with other people, trying to figure out what was going on with my relationship so I could fix it. And a lot of it, I thought, well, she needs to change. My wife needs to change. And there was a point where I thought, oh, well, when I start making more money again, it'll change. It's definitely going to change when I start making more money again. And when I started making more money again, it didn't. We were still arguing. We were still fighting. It was still like And sex life sucked. But it finally clicked. I kept going, kept knowing that it was possible to figure it out and turn it around. And then I finally figured it out. And when I did, it changed everything. Our intimacy on every level, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, it just became badass again. She became my best friend again. And I realized that this conscious relationship blueprint has 3 main frameworks that I experienced while I was transforming my relationship. And the first one is the RG3 method. Okay. So the RG3 method is simply where you take the strategies that you've been using, because everything has a strategy. They either work or they don't. You take the strategies that you've been using that haven't been working, such as yelling, arguing, shutting down, avoiding, and turning them into strategies that actually work, while you simultaneously give yourself grace. Instead of talking down to yourself and beating yourself up, you give yourself grace to mess it up, but still show up differently. The second one is the flow communication framework. Now, this communication framework is a framework that you take so you're able to communicate in a way that disarms conflict, so that you're not going into conversations and turning them into fights and arguments or shutdowns every time you have a conversation. Your conversations, even if they're tough, can flow with ease, and you can actually be understood and your message land. The third one is ACF. This is the authentic connection formula. And with this, you make sure that your core principles in your relationship are aligned. You both know your limits, and you can align your values, move forward in the same direction, and both of you can be yourselves without having to play roles or perform and be somebody you're not. And when you integrate these into your relationship, into your life, this is where trust flows naturally. Respect just shows up. It doesn't have to try. And that frequent, fun, badass sex that you want, that's a no-brainer. That's a byproduct. And you're happy. And when you go home, you want to go home quick. You want to go inside. You want to hug her neck. You want to hug your kids. No hiding out in the car or sitting out there because you don't want to go inside. So if you want your own conscious relationship blueprint, all you got to do is go down below, message me, CRB. I'll walk you through a relationship audit. And if it's the right fit, I'll help you create your own conscious relationship blueprint. Peace.